Welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Eric McLean, it's a code blue. It is a code blue, which we have
Yeah,
learned this season, you even for me, is worse than code red, because we have been just on the ledge this whole season that we've learned different codes and all
yeah,
that. We have a Virginia Duke ACC title game, something that you warned us about a month ago, and I said, "Mac, it's not gonna happen. It's never
yeah.
gonna happen. Some teams are gonna handle their business. SMU's not gonna go lose to Cal in the most absurd way possible after dominating the 4th quarter, but also not showing up for the first 3." But Mac, it did happen. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, great to see you.
Hi.
Yeah, it's chaos right now. It really is. And we were going back and forth like how to even start this episode because there's obviously a great rivalry weekend and some
Yes.
fun things that happened and some great ball. And now here we are in this most particular situation known to man. And it's such an ACC thing. Like it's so
Yes.
typical for this league executives, whatever, teams, everybody involved for this to be the ACC championship. And so it's so weird because it's so delicate, it's so strange. Like even to talk about this thing is such a weird thing. And so I will start by this. Congratulations, Virginia, on earning it, winning it on the field, beating a rival that you've beaten once out of the last 20 times to get this done, to clinch. For my guy, Coach E, so happy for him. And for us to be there, that was a really cool moment, selfishly for me, to be there and to see that. And, I stayed for the whole game and went in at halftime and went in with him after the game. And Chandler came up and gave me a big hug, which was super
Awesome.
cool. And just there's so many Clemson people there, just from that I either played with or that were on the staff with us. While we were there with Coach E and just all these things. So that was really, really, really cool. And just to be a part of that was amazing. And for them to clinch. And then to be in traffic on the way home and to be watching this SMU debacle where all you have to do is beat a team that just fired their coach, that just got aired out by their rival. That's all you have to do. And you're back in it and you're clinching and they can't. And, for a Duke team to clinch somehow, some way. And this is where I think it gets really weird because, people have heard me and heard me say things, obviously, kind of jokingly, a little bit of seriousness to them. But overarching, like when I'm saying things, for the most part, it's about the betterment of the league and the best thing to happen for the ACC. Like I just feel like that's the position that I'm in right now. Kind of with this whole thing, and the fact that we have a 5-way tie at the 2 spot, and somehow, some way, the um clenching scenario or the tiebreaker scenario that the ACC Brain Trust came up with equaled and output the team with the worst resume and the most losses in that 5-way tie is just crazy to me. So I want to say this. I am not mad at Duke. Like they're just winning. It's a football team. You want to win. You want to do your thing. I'm not mad at
Well,
Duke.
they win sometimes.
That's right. But I'm mad at the process of this and how we are where we are. And at a time where it seems like perception is the most important thing
Yep.
for us to be able to conjure up, we have a rematch where a team got aired out and dominated, first of all, and that same team that lost to Tulane and lost to UConn. Like, it's so bizarre how this is happening. And those are not ACC games. And listen, it's I don't know. It's just a
Mm.
hard position that we're in. And, I remember back years ago where um, we weren't at the network yet. We weren't there yet. And Clemson in 2018 played a 6-6 Pittsburgh team in the ACC championship. And I'm looking at this like this is the most embarrassing thing ever because I grew up in this conference. Like I've always cared about the ACC. And I'm just like, this sucks. Like, look at all these other games that are around, and this is it. Like, this is the championship game, a 6-6 team, versus a Clemson team that obviously went on to be undefeated and win a national championship. So I thought when we move and shaked all these things around, that this would never happen again, to where this game would, not be a high stakes, really impressive looking game. And yet here we are at the most impactful time possible to try to get multiple bids into this college football playoff. And the reality of code blue is that we might not get any. And so
Mm,
that's where the frustrations rise. It's not with any fan base, it's not with any team, it's not with any player, coach, anything of that nature. It's just the betterment of the league is
right.
in jeopardy right now. And the talking points and like at the end of the day, I'm one of the faces of this thing going on in TV and talking and trying to boost it up. And it's like self-sabotage for the league to do this. And so if you hear some heightened frustration, that's why. Just to lay all that out there, kind of where we're starting, KG.
Mac, it's well said. And you have a hard job.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree there. Now, it is the most ACC thing ever that you set up these tiebreakers thinking, and, on paper, it seems like a fair enough way to decide it when you have three or more teams tied, which the ACC has four. Mind you, it's also the most ACC thing ever that Virginia actually has two losses to ACC teams, but only one of them
Right.
counts, which is just
Well, could
hilarious,
you
right?
imagine that? Could you imagine if it
Yeah,
was a
then it'd be a
six-way tie
five-way.
for first? Now you
Yeah, or
got
that.
5 now.
Yes,
You've got
exactly.
Duke, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Miami, SMU, all with 2 ACC losses.
Yeah, it would, and that's again like there are so many negatives to divisions. You bring up the 2018 game. I mean, it was just all the years where it
Yeah.
probably should have been Clemson, Florida State playing in the ACC title, which we've never had, and it was Clemson or Florida State versus whoever won the Coastal. But I guess there was some benefit to that because I don't know, it wasn't this, right?
Right.
So the head to head, I've seen a lot of fans being like, "What the head to head? Georgia Tech beat Duke, whatever." Per the ACC rules, the head-to-head only is the first tiebreaker if it's a two-team tie. So because we have four teams tied, which is the three or more, then it goes to combined head-to-head win percentage among the tied teams if all tied teams are common opponents. So Duke secured this spot by having a higher conference opponent winning percentage than Miami, SMU, Pitt, Georgia Tech. What? I mean, that's just a crazy way to decide this. I think personally, and I know you brought up kind of the devil's advocate here, but I feel like the ACC's gotta go amend this now because you can't let this happen again, and it had to be because it's all about not just perception, Mac, we're talking perception equals reality. Perception in some ways equals survival right now.
Mhm.
Like, we're not just saying the betterment of the league, we're talking survival. Like, if you're left out of a playoff, who knows if that could happen again, and then who knows what happens there as we keep going down this slippery slope. I think you've gotta change it to 3 or more team tie, the highest team in the CFP rankings gets the nod. Now, that could backfire at some point if you have a team that is number 5 or whatever, like you said, like you told us, Mac, off air, and they have to play. But then you'd have a Virginia-Miami ACC championship game with maybe a chance for Miami to win and secure a bid, because right now they're on the outside looking in. Who knows if they're gonna get in? And Virginia, of course, with a chance to win and secure a bid. So at least you're not completely left out if that were to
Yeah.
happen.
No, it's such a fascinating thing. And I will say all this too, kind of as we lay all these things out here, and we're going to continue to talk about these and maybe make the best situation that we think would work.
Mm.
Virginia could win by 20 points. Miami could be in, and we have 2 teams in, and all of this is a waste of time. And all of this is for naught. That could
It's
happen.
possible.
But it also could happen that there's not a team. So it's kind of
Right.
like, there's clearly a problem. There's an issue, with this, selection tiebreaker process. And so that's why we have a quarrel with it. And again, not alienating Duke. It's just is what it is. You
Right.
lost to Tulane. You lost to UConn. Sorry. Play better then. You had Illinois on the
Please.
ropes at home. There's some other things here. And again, none of those are conference games. So if you're confused why I'm bringing it up, it is perception games. It is games that make us as a conference look bad. And there's plenty others, but you're in the championship game. So that's why you're in the
Yeah.
spotlight. I think you bring up the highest rated in the college football playoff thing. And if there's a tie, they should be in. Well, the devil's advocate, as you were pointing out before we were talking before, is that team is already in the college football playoff potentially. Like, let's say Miami right now would be
Potentially.
6th or Miami was 8. If they're the highest rated 2-loss team, which you could argue they should be when you see some of these other teams and how they play. Oklahoma, no offense, great defense, elite defense, almost lost to LSU, who's on life support. A Alabama team that had to have a last-second fumble to secure the game over Auburn. A Georgia team that was a one-score game with Georgia Tech. All these different
70
things.
passing
Like there's
yards.
chaos. There's Texas A&M lost. There's all these chaotic things that happen. So let's say Miami is number 8 right now. and at this point, as we live in this reality, does not have to play in an ACC championship, and Duke is in that ACC champion. They don't want to play that extra game. They
Sure.
would much rather be sitting at home watching them figure it out and have this nice little breezy walk, to the college football playoff. So there is the ebbs and flows, but let's say Miami was eliminated, and we have a team that's on the brink, and let's say Georgia Tech is maybe 20th, right around where some of those G5 teams are. If they were in fighting and they were to beat Virginia, who is ranked higher than those G5 teams right now, maybe they would get a boost and they would be in the college football playoff. The only reason that this is such an issue is because if Duke wins, again, for the third time, I'm sorry to keep saying it, if Duke is to win, that is not a good situation. They will not be in the college football playoff. They will not be ahead of a Sun Belt champion or of an American champion the way that it is right now today.
Easy.
And so that's again the quarrel. That is not good for the ACC. And so that stinks because I love Duke. I love Manny Diaz. I love David Feely. I love those players. And it's like we're in a weird position right now because, like, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to cheer against them. I mean, yeah, and pull for Virginia. Like, that's not a fun place to be, at all.
But the answer
And
is yeah.
it feels like that's where, if you're an ACC fan, if you're an ACC whatever, feels like where you have to be. Just again for the. I mean, this is a multi-million dollar
Right.
decision.
It's
This is
we're
a
talking
multi-million dollar
survival,
outcome.
Mac.
You
We're
are.
talking survival.
You are.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
sucks. I hate it. So I think I think head to head, shouldn't matter if there's a big tie like we have here. So you kind of look at this grouping. Okay, Duke lost to Georgia Tech, they're out. Georgia Tech lost to Pitt, they're out. Miami lost to Pitt, they're out. Or excuse me, Pitt lost to Miami, they're out. SMU somehow is sitting here and
because
didn't lose
SMU
to
beat
any of those
Miami.
teams. So maybe SMU should just be in, and they beat Miami. So it's this weird, it's this weird thing in a roundabout way where if you just did head to head on the field, SMU is the only team that has beaten one of these tie teams and
Right.
didn't lose to one of these tie teams. So it's a really weird, kind of convoluted thing, but that is actual things that you control on the field. If you don't want to go the highest rated, and if nobody had played each other, then maybe you go to that as a third tier where maybe it's a little bit less of a sting because it just is what it is. Somebody's got to play, in this game, and you get to that.
Ugh.
But going to the thing that decided this is something that these teams on the field had zero control over. I can't control what my
Yeah.
opponent does after I beat
Right.
you. I can't
Right.
control what my opponent does at all. And so that's why, to me, it is really, really frustrating. And I would strongly encourage a reevaluation now. Like today, I hope that there's people working on this and figuring out what's a better solution because moving forward, this cannot be it. This cannot be the outcome that you desire. And so we'll see. We'll see who all watches. We'll see the numbers. There will be real live repercussions for this game and consequences and or benefits. So we'll kind of judge that after we kind of know the full story.
I agree, Mac. Well, speaking from a ratings perspective too, I will say that's not all on the ACC because you talk about these brands that have rosters worth much more money than, for example, Duke's roster, even though, Duke's paid some money. They didn't handle their business. Clemson,
Mhm.
Florida State, nowhere to be found.
For sure.
Miami still lost 2 games. So
Yeah.
some of that the ACC can't control. But the bottom line too, Mac, I think this shows us we should not have 17-team conferences.
That's
Like,
right. That's Coach Jimbo Fisher's biggest thing.
come
You can't play
on.
each other. You can't
That is
settle
just
it on the
stupid.
field.
That
Yeah,
is just stupid. And
chaos.
then
Yeah.
it's really hard because you only play 8 games.
Yeah.
Like in basketball, we have these huge leagues, but everyone plays each other. So
Right.
you have head to heads. You don't have these crazy tiebreakers. So it's a mess, Mac. It's a mess.